Hello and welcome to another episode of Tableau in 2 minutes. Today we are going to be covering a little bit about table calculations. And what we're going to do is just play around with some table calculations and show you some of the things that you can do with them in Tableau. The first thing I've done is I've connected to the Superstore dataset. So we're going to use some dates and sales information to start off with. So we're going to take the order date onto the columns shelf here. We're going to expand it out until we've got month, and then we're going to get rid of the quarter. Don't really want to see it by quarters. We're also going to squeeze these up just a little bit tighter to try and make sure, whoops, maybe a little bit too tight. Just make sure we can see quite a few years on the same page there. There you go, that looks good. Then we're going to take sales and we're just going to drag sales across to our row shelf here. So what we have here is now a graph of the sales by month for 2009 through 2012 for our store, which is nice, but we can do a lot of things with that for the purposes of analysis. So in here, if we go in, let's just go add table calculation. This is going to bring up the table calculation dialog box, and it defaults from difference to and then looks across all of the tables. So this is basically giving us the difference to the previous month. So you can tell that we're missing the first month, obviously, because there's no month to start with. Then we have month starting at 2. So starting at February, we were 183,822 behind the previous month. Then in month 3, we were 79,000 up, etc., 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 all the way across the table. Now we can also calculate this by pane. So we could use, instead of going all the way across the table, we can use just a single pane. In this case, you'll see that we're also missing the first item from 2010 because we're now calculating from that first month. 2011, same thing. We can use these other options. They don't do anything different in this particular case, or we can use cell. If we use cell, then it calculates it at absolutely the lowest level of detail, which in this case means that we're trying to take the difference from the previous for every single item. And if we restart every single item, there is no difference from the previous. If we wanted to get into it, we could also use specific dimensions. One of the things that we show you in a different video is using this to calculate the year-over-year change. So this is going to show the difference from January, the prior year, and again, difference from February and then from March, the prior year. So that's one way of using table calculations, but there's a lot more to them than that. We can also keep a running total. Right, so this is then summing up every single month and giving us basically cumulative growth over that particular time frame. If we wanted to do something fun with this, maybe let's have it calculate this at the pane level, right? And then this is giving us what we might consider our build from 0 revenue at the beginning of the year out through January until where we ended up in December. Now, if we wanted to see whether there was a difference between each of these lines, it's funny. We can, in fact, do that. What we can do is we can say that we want to look at this cumulative growth over the course of the year. But now let's add a secondary calculation. And then let's say we wanted to go with percent difference from the prior year. So let's go, again, we've got percent difference from, instead of using the table across, we're going to go down here to specific dimensions, uncheck month. And that's going to show this for 2010, 2011, and 2012, what the difference is, January versus January. And what we're looking at here is the difference for each year in terms of that cumulative growth. So we were 34% behind where we were in January this year. Then we were 28% behind where we were in February. 34% behind in March, but gradually getting closer until we were only 15% behind in December. In 2011, we started off 25% behind where we were in January 2010, but we actually grew and we ended up just a little bit behind for the full year. So you can see that these can be pretty powerful things to include, and you can get some very detailed information, some very interesting information, and some very interesting views by using table calculations to calculate the difference across a dimension, whether it's a timeline or something else. So that is it for our quicker introduction to table calculations. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. There's a link to the data for this video in the video description. And if you like what you see, if you like getting tips to Tableau, please subscribe to our channel. Have a great day and we will speak to you soon.